Welcome back. South Africa's Police Minister Becky Cele says the country has recorded 20,336 murders in the last year, an increase of 1,320 compared to the same period the year before. While admitting that the police haven't done as well as they should have, Mr. Cele says security officers have dropped the ball. According to him, about 57 murders occur in South Africa per day. This, he says, borders on a war zone. Mr. Cele, however, urged South Africans not to normalize the fact that they can be hijacked, robbed and killed every day. The motives and circumstances behind the killings range from gangerism and vigilantism. Ghanaians are paying their last respect to late former UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan as his body lies in state at Accra's International Conference Centre. The general public gathered for a public view of the coffin. Mr. Annan's body arrived in his home country in Ghana yesterday. The body will lie in state today and tomorrow, and then a state funeral will hold on Thursday, September the 13th. He died in a Swiss hospital on August 18th at the age of 80 after a brief illness. Former Commonwealth Secretary-General, who had the opportunity of working with the late Kofi Annan, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, has been invited to the funeral of the former UN Secretary-General in Ghana by President Nana Akufo-Addo. The late Kofi Annan was UN Secretary-General during the last 3 years of Chief Anyaoku's 10-year tenure as Commonwealth Secretary-General, and in 2012, after his retirement from the Commonwealth, Mr. Annan invited him to chair the UN panel for mobilizing international support for the new mechanism established by African leaders in the African Union for the development of the African continent. Both men were close friends for over 50 years, even in Abuja, for the adoption of what became known as the Abuja Accord in 2015, by which all 12 Nigerian presidential candidates committed their political parties to violence-free campaign and to accept the results of the impending national elections. Meanwhile, a Ghanaian artist, Derek Bars, creates this work of art in honor of the former UN Secretary-General. He says he has been working on a series of portraits of Mr. Kofi Annan that he hopes would feature in the week-long funeral ceremony organized for Mr. Annan.
Derek Bar is a Ghanaian artist that has been working on a series of portraits to honor former United Nations Secretary-General and the 2001 winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, Kofi Annan. Bar, a 26-year-old artist, first painted Annan using spray paint at a graffiti arts festival in Accra, exactly 1 week after his death.
I decided to paint Kofi Annan because he's an amazing man and one of the legends that we've ever seen as Africans and as Ghanaians. And then I did this as an artist to pay my contribution and to do this to honor Kofi Annan.
For the festival, he'd planned to paint different subjects. But when he heard about Annan's death, he says he felt as a Ghanaian artist, he had a responsibility to send a message, especially to young people. Bar says the response to his series of portraits has been positive, although some people do not recognize Annan in the works because of his close resemblance to American actor Morgan Freeman. Bar's message is that Annan is an African leader worth emulating and one whose life young people should look to for inspiration. Annan often decried a lack of strong leaders to help handle crisis.
Kofi Annan is a very good reference every leader should actually look up to. For someone to become great, I think there's somebody who has already been there already. So as African leaders, there is a lot we can learn from him. He was very transparent, very honest, and very peaceful to the world. And I think every leader and an African leader should actually follow his footsteps.
Annan was also a mediator, applauded for his success in halting a spiraling conflict in Kenya in 2007. When rival claims to the presidency caused ethnic massacres in which more than 1,200 people died.
Let's take you to Egypt's capital, Cairo now, where a small group of female artists are recycling old glass bottles into new pieces of art for sale. The art group, referred to as Three Glassy Ladies, do this with the aim of reducing pollution and raising awareness of its dangers. Take a look.
These are the three glassy ladies. They're using their talents to produce art pieces from recycled glass bottles, a way they say adds a fine touch to home accessories and promotes recycling initiatives.
I take these bottles and use them. I find a way to make these bottles have permanent use, not just as a decoration, a chandelier or a vase, for example. What I do is to find a way to utilize this bottle as a table utensil.
Asma Kamal and her co-founders, Sarah Mohammed and Haja Assam, start their product designs by polishing the bottles using a furnace to melt them into a mold before leaving them to cool. The group now solely sell their accessories to customers through the social media and the internet.
We want our business to expand and we want people to know us. We want people to know that recycling is a good thing and how we use small things to create big things. Objects that had no use now have decorative uses. We want people to know our products and we want our brand to grow in the market.
Many recycling initiatives operate in Cairo in a bid to reduce the city's enormous landfill waste produced in the teeming metropolis of 22 million people.
Well, that's it on the program. Thanks for watching. I'm Teniola Shobowale.
Download the TV Now app and get access to unlimited movies.